It's time for my way too early 2026 American Conference Power Rankings. Please note that next season is still a ways away. This ranking's mostly for fun. It's just how I see things right now. We start in dead last with the Charlotte 49ers coming off of a disastrous year. They're heading to year 2 under Tim Albin, but I look at what happened at Ohio both after he left and before he was there, and I wonder if he was more of a product of Ohio's program operating at a high level. Next up is UAB. I'm just not crazy about the hiring of Alex Mortensen as their new head coach. He did give them some juice at the end of last season, but we'll see if that's sustainable and him as a head coach actually works. It's painful to put a team like Rice this low, but the American is such a deep conference that somebody has to slip between the cracks. Scott Abel's team showed some really good life at the start of the year, but throughout the season in American Conference play, they really started to struggle, and so I think it's going to be another rebuilding year. Trey Lamb's Tulsa team actually returns a ton from last season's squad that showed some life toward the end of last season. They were playing more like a middle-tier American team than the bottom-of-the-barrel team they looked like for the majority of the season, and I think they could ride that momentum. As a service academy, Army has a high floor, but they really didn't display that same dominance last season that they had in their first year in the American Conference. It's going to be up to Jeff Monken to try and right the ship this year, but I think it's just difficult to level up like that as Army. It's going to be a slow rebuild. Temple made the leap from the cellar to a solid competitive team in the American last year, and I think they can take another step forward this season with another quietly good offseason by Casey Keeler with the Owls. FAU's positioned to be the surprise team of this conference this year. Zach Kitley has done so much good stuff throughout the offseason, and on paper, this is the team that stands out the most in terms of their level of improvement they're set to have. Fresh off a playoff appearance and an American Conference title, I think Tulane is set to regress this season. I'm not crazy about the hiring of Will Hall, and they lost several significant contributors. North Texas is going to be a completely different team this year. They lost virtually every significant contributor from last season's squad that made the conference title game, but Neil Brown has brought some optimism and a bunch of new players through the portal that actually have them looking like a pretty solid team. They could contend for a title again in this conference. Navy is coming off of back-to-back spectacular seasons under Brian Newberry, but history has shown us that it's really difficult to sustain this high of a level of play over a consistent period of time for a service academy, so I think Navy could regress a little bit this year, especially when you consider them losing a guy like Blake Horvath that meant so much to this team. UTSA has had a couple of relatively down years, but they're still a very dangerous team, and I think they could be set to rise up the ranks in this conference with their consistency and a lot of other top contenders losing their head coaches. I think Charles Huff can win right away with Memphis. His pedigree as a head coach is very clear at this point, and the Tigers have a nice bed of talent that he has not been used to having as a head coach. He can win right away. Brian Hartline has brought a ton of excitement to South Florida football, and for good reason. I think he can continue what Alex Golesh was building here. He already has a ton of excellent portal additions. But my way too early number one in this conference is East Carolina. I love a ton about this team on paper, and I think they're in a position to make the leap to a top-tier contender in this team with so many other top contenders being shaken up this offseason.